Alright, so in this video I wanted to show you how to begin knitting. I'm going to show you right from the very beginning, and I want to show you how it works to have your yarn matching with your needles, and so that when you're buying your yarn and needles you know what to get. So you get your different type of needles. You can get them in metal, you can get them in bamboo, you can get them in plastic. It really depends on what you prefer to knit with, and as a beginner you're not going to know, so go with whichever you feel comfortable in buying. They come in different sizes. Your needles are going to come in a different size. All of them are different sizes, and they tell you on them. You just got to find where it is. This says it's a 10.5. You know, sometimes they'll have it written over here. These don't have it written on them, so I kind of keep my packet with them. Nowhere on the, okay, it does. This one does. Sometimes they don't, so I kind of keep my packets just to be sure of what they are. This is a US 9, which is a 5.5 millimeter needle. Now this is your double pointed needle. These have the place in the knitting world. It's a double point, and you use these if you've got something really small to knit and you're trying to knit it in the round, like a hat. You can use these for the top of a hat. Or you're making socks, these are used. Now these are not my favorite to use. I will just be straightforward with you, because they're very finicky to work with, and they've got their place, and I mean, if I have to use them I use them, but it's more complicated than what I like. So what I do is, instead of using these, I just use my big circular needle, and this is a needle that comes with this attached to it, and you knit in the round with these. You get shorter ones and longer ones, and also in the different sizes. And yeah, see, so now this does not have its size on it, so I just keep it with the packet so I know what size it is. You could write it on with marker or something. But yeah, so this is a circular needle. This, you use your circular needles to knit hats, but when you get to the top of the hat you've got a really small circle, and it's not going to work on this. That's why you take them off and you put them onto these. But there's a way that you can knit it, where you keep your long circular needles and you don't have to go onto these, and that's what I do for mine. But this is all a lot of stuff you don't really need to know quite yet. You also get a lot of little gadgets. This is a row counter and knit tally, and it counts your rows for you. You'll get a stitch marker, which keeps your work. It's a marker so you know where the beginning of your row begins and ends. And you can make your own if you don't have any of these. They're little round markers that you put on your needle in between your work. You can use a piece of yarn, just make a knot. You get little cable needles. This is when you're doing your cable work. You use these. Let's see, what else do you have? Yeah, you know, that's kind of covering the basics of your knitting. You don't need to know all that now, but this is good to know. Yeah, so I think I'm going to go ahead and show you how to know which needles to use with which yarn and how to get you started. So yeah, let's keep going. Alright, so when it comes to your yarn and needle matching, you need to look on the label. You see what type of yarn it is. You can see what this is 100% acrylic. Some are acrylic, some are wool, some are cotton, depends on what you're looking for, and this is going to tell you your grams and your ounces. Now sometimes you got to search on the label. You don't always see it immediately because they're not all in the same place. So for example here, I'll just see, okay, where is it? Okay, here it is on here. This one's also 100% acrylic, and it tells you it's machine washable. This is a 6 ounce, and this one was a 5 ounce. So they're different sizes, and all the information that you need should be on the label. Then what you want to do is you want to see, alright, well, what size needles am I going to be using? Now, they will give you a general idea, and sometimes they're going with a project that they have. Sometimes they have a project on the back, and those are the needle sizes for that project. But you've basically got the idea as to what they say on here, what size needle. So for this one they're saying a 4mm, which is a US 6. Now to find that on your needles are going to be in a different place. As I said before, it depends. It could be here, it could be written here, it could be written anywhere. You just got to find it out. But generally it'll be on the package, so you can find it on the package. But if you don't have your packet, you got to look on the needle, and you got to see from there. As I say, sometimes they've got it written actually on the needle, which is really nice, because then if you lose your package, you have your needle size. Anyway, so for this one it says a 4mm, and you know, the thing is with your size needle and your size yarn is that you want to have the right drape of fabric. You want your fabric, and I say fabric, your knitted garment, you want that to lie the way you want it to. So if you go ahead and use this real thick needle, this one is a 10.5. If I use this thick one with this yarn, I'm going to have a very loose fabric and very lacy loose fabric. Doesn't matter what stitch I use, it's going to come out pretty loose because this needle is too thick for the yarn. Now, is it wrong to use? It depends on what look you're looking for. Generally you're not going to use such a thick one with this, but if you want a real lacy look, hey, who's to say that it's wrong? You know what I'm saying? It depends on what you're wanting. If you go with a needle that's much thinner than this, that's thinner than the size they're saying, you're going to have it very tight. It's going to make a very dense fabric. So it depends on what you're looking for. But generally you can follow what they're saying. Then the other thing is that you need to know is the gauge. So if you're looking for a certain gauge, you need to match your knitting needle up with your yarn and make sure that you get a gauge in the size that you want. But just for beginners, we're not getting into all of that. You want to go ahead, buy yourself some yarn. This one is the Caron Simply Soft, and it uses a size 4 medium. This is a size 4, and it's a 5mm or a size 8, and this is a size 8. So this needle matches with this yarn, and I should get a good tension on my garment. So I don't want to get into too much because this is really for beginners, but I thought I'd throw out a bunch of things for you just so you know what is what. But I want to go ahead and show you now. So I have the right size needles for this, but I'm going to be knitting in this yarn, and I am going to be using a slightly thicker needle because I want mine to be a little bit looser so that you can see what I'm doing.